Hey, I'm Jen. In life, I've learned that adversity is a stranger to no one. The way we cope is a huge indicator of our character. We want to make choices from confidence, empowerment, and trust, instead of letting our circumstances control us. Let's talk about how. This is episode H, Healing with Liz Russell. Okay, I have triple checked that my USB mic is the one that is selected, so it astounds me that I can't learn that lesson, but we're all human, right? In this episode, I have an interview with Liz Russell. She is the one who started the Best of Box Bake Off, if you've seen me post about that. But of course, before we get to that interview, we have a few things to talk about. And as a side note, if you could send me a quick message and let me know if you like the guests, if you want more solo episodes, what your feedback is. I'm trying to strike a balance between guests and solo episodes, but I just find so many good guests, so it's hard to rein that in. Okay, starting with Name the Emotion. This listener writes in, I felt joy because I decluttered 2 rooms in my house. Everything was in its place, cleaned and organized. It was daunting and was something that needed to be done for 6 months. Finally, I felt the energy and had the time to spend on it. We're such adults, aren't we? When we feel such joy after cleaning. But it's so true. Things build up, things get out of hand, and it's nice to finally tackle them again. This next listener writes in, I can't help but feel jealous when I see how many followers an account has or how someone else's business has grown. Ooh, yes, jealousy. That's a big one. And I don't think we've had too many submissions about jealousy. It's kind of a hard one to admit. So thank you for having the courage to write in. I can relate to this for sure, especially having a podcast. It's hard not to compare yourself to others, but we're all on our own journey. We all have our own purpose and things happen as they need to. And this last one is mine. I felt proud because a couple weeks ago, Brant has started to sing Old MacDonald Had a Farm. And by singing it, I mean he sings the E-I-E-I-O part. But it's just so cute to see. And it's important to write those things down. I wrote it in his baby book, and I don't want to forget these things. So again, whoever needs to hear this, write the things down that your kids say or do. Okay, on to my list. My list this week is the states that I've been to. I've never actually been out of the United States. Well, I take that back. I went on a cruise to Mexico, but you didn't even have to have a passport because we left from Long Beach, California. My goal this year is to get a passport because my husband's expires this year, and so that would be good to be on the same track as him. I digress. So, states I've been to. My husband and I are trying to go to all the temples in the United States, and the number keeps growing, of course. When we started, there were 86, and now there are over 100. We've gone to 30-something temples, so that's pretty good. We tend to plan our vacations around temples in those states, and of course, this was much easier before kids and before COVID, but we're slowly getting back into it. So most of the states I've been to is because of the temples, but I've been to the state of Washington, Oregon, California, Hawaii, Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, Colorado, Arizona, Washington, D.C., which I know isn't really a state, Pennsylvania, New York, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire. And I only counted the ones that I've actually stopped at and done something in this state. I didn't count the ones that I've just driven through. My husband and I talked about how next we need to go to the Midwest because that is seriously lacking in my list. We thought Chicago might be a good idea. So. And then before we get into the interview, I have some quotes about healing. A lot of times when I'm preparing an episode, I use the Control F feature or the Find button to see what quotes I have about that subject. And I didn't find any with the word healing in them. I know others could be related, but I didn't really dig too deep into it. I did Google quotes about healing, and it's a good category, good topic. So I need to find more. The ones that jumped out to me were, we repeat what we don't repair. Very good. It's kind of like learning from history and how we're doomed to repeat it if we don't learn. The next one is, be like a tree and let the dead leaves drop. And that's by Rumi. I love analogies and wise words like that with comparisons. So let those dead leaves go. Why are we hanging on to them? And the last one is by Bianca Spadacino. And she says, you are not broken, you are becoming. So beautiful. It goes right along with adversity. The adversity makes us stronger, gives us experience, and turns us into the people we're meant to be. Okay, on to my interview with Liz Russell. Okay, hello. I am here with Liz. Hi, Liz.
Hi,
How are you today?
I'm doing really well.
Today felt like a Monday to me, even though it's Tuesday.
I agree with that. It's a weird day, weird week.
Yes. Yes. Well, anyway, I'm excited to talk to Liz. I met Liz through Instagram, the world of Instagram. She used to run a baking competition, and that's how I met her. So would you introduce yourself a little bit to my listeners?
Sure. So my name is Liz Russell, and I am a mom of two little kids and a wife, a stay-at-home mom right now, but I love to bake and I love to run. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, good combination there, baking and
Mhm.
running.
They need each other.
Yes, for sure. Well, the reason I wanted to have Liz on my podcast has evolved a little bit. I first wanted to have her just to talk about her bake-off competition and how that started. And then it evolved a little bit more into healing because she had to put her baking competition on pause. So we'll get into that, but we're going to talk about the different aspects of healing as they relate to emotional health, physical health, and mental health. So if we just wanted to start with emotional health and how that's impacted your life.
Sure. Kind of a little bit back into me and who I am and why I am who I am. When I was 16, my mom passed away suddenly from a massive stroke in her brainstem. She'd been having lots of health issues. And anyway, they all together, they took her from us. And it was tough. It was really, really hard. As a 16-year-old girl, I'm the oldest in my family. So I had a 14-year-old brother and a 6-year-old brother. And it was a lot. I was not okay for a long time. And I could tell that I was not okay. And one day I woke up and I said to myself, like, I know my emotions are valid. I totally understand my emotions are valid, but I am so tired of not feeling good.
Mm.
And so one day I said, I'm going to have a good day today. And I did. And
Wow.
I didn't have to have a good day every day. And I allowed myself grace, but I started having more good days than bad days. And that was a choice that I made. Like,
Mm.
you can have really bad days all the time if you want to.
Yeah.
But once I made the choice to start having good days, it changed everything for me.
Wow. That's huge. And especially as a 16-year-old, props, because that is a very difficult time of life, like you mentioned. Do you feel like you had other supports too at that time? Did you go through therapy or did you mostly just carry it all on your own?
Well, we tried therapy and the therapist made me mad.
Mm.
It was our it was I think it was 3 days after my mom had passed, and we went in, met with this therapist as a family, and the therapist told me, you guys have to like buck up. Someday your dad's gonna get remarried.
Mm.
And after that, like, that made me mad, obviously.
Yeah.
And I was like, Dad, I'm never going back. So mostly it was me just trying to survive and find joy in small things and recognize the joy and move forward. I would not say that's what everyone should do, but for me, with the support system I had, that worked.
Mm. Wow. That's incredible. What would you say to someone who's going through something similar, the loss of a loved one or something really hard like that?
I would say There's a lot of things that I would say to them, but I would say first, you need to feel your emotions.
Mm.
Like you need to allow yourself to grieve. And
Mm-hmm.
you can't give yourself a timeline. You can't say in 6 months I'm going to be okay, because you might not be.
Yeah.
And there's not a perfect timeline or anything like that. You got to give yourself time to be happy too, though. Like you have to allow yourself to laugh. I remember feeling like I was with friends and stuff. We were at a dance that I had been asked to before she passed away. And we were laughing, and I stopped suddenly, like mid laugh, and I was like, "You shouldn't be laughing. Your mom just died." But then I realized, like, no, that's not what my mom would want. That's
Mm.
not what life is about. Holding yourself back is not what it's about. So I
Yeah.
would say allow yourself to grieve, allow yourself to have good days, and also just let yourself be different. Like you don't have to be the same as you were before it happened.
Yeah.
No
Mm.
one expects you to be, you
Yeah.
know?
Wow. That's such a trial. I can't even imagine. Thank you for your insights there. And then just out of curiosity, did your dad get remarried?
He did.
Mm.
So I was 16, I was a junior when my mom passed, and my dad started dating when I went to college.
Mm.
So 2 years later, and he got married at the end of my freshman year of college.
Mm. Okay. Wow. And do you feel like you get along well with your stepmom or how? I don't know. I know that's like probably
Yeah.
too personal. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, it's not personal at all. She's an angel. We love
Mm.
her, and her husband actually passed away from cancer
Mm.
when she had 5 little kids, and so her kids understand loss of a parent just like ours. And a blended family is always a difficult thing, but we actually all fit right in together in ages, and it turned out pretty great. Yeah, but
Wow. That's cool. Yeah, I'm kind of on the other side of things a little bit. My parents got divorced when I got married, and so now my mom started dating, so that's interesting. But yeah.
It's weird. It's a
Yes,
weird thing to adjust to.
for sure. Okay, and then how did that connect into your physical health?
So I've had some of the exact same health issues that my mom had.
Mm.
So right after my second baby, I started having really, really severe postpartum
Mm.
uh symptoms, or so I thought. I was like, man, I am so tired. Like 2 kids. I mean, my baby only wakes up once. I shouldn't be this tired when I wake up. And I was like, wow, my hair is falling out so much. This does it like double when you have a new kid? And I seriously was like weirded out. And my sister-in-law, actually, she's a nurse practitioner. She was like,
Mm.
I think there might be something more going on. You should go get a full blood panel and talk to a doctor. And
Mm.
I'm so grateful that she did, because I went in and I had really low thyroid. I had
Mm.
hypothyroidism, and we found out a couple weeks later that I actually had Hashimoto's,
Mm.
which is the autoimmune disease of low thyroid.
Mm.
Anyway, so 15 years ago when my mom passed away, Hashimoto's was not talked about. It wasn't a thing that you could get help for.
Wow.
It wasn't, it was just there.
Mm.
And if you go long enough without managing an autoimmune disease, you get more autoimmune
Mm.
diseases, and the issues are really, really bad. And anyway, my mom wasn't diagnosed, but I have all the exact same symptoms as she did.
Mm.
So, because of that emotional trauma that I have, been trying to heal from, it has made me very, very on top of my health. Like, I
Mm.
need to be here for my kids because my mom wasn't here.
Wow. And then your baking competition and all of this. So you knew you had Hashimoto's when you started it.
Mhm.
And let's talk about that for a minute and then we'll circle back around.
Okay.
So what prompted that? You've just always loved baking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the baking thing happened because it was peak COVID. I was very bored inside my house, and people were starting to go crazy. Everyone was.
Hmm.
And I knew that one day I was sitting there and this idea came to me. It's kind of like a mix. I was watching the Great British Baking Show.
Love it.
And I was like, man, I think I could do this. Like, I think I could make a competition. And I kind of put it off. I talked to some friends about it and asked them if they'd be interested. They're like, that sounds way fun. Then I pushed it off and it kept coming back to me. Like, it was bugging me. The idea was like, you got to do this. So I did. And I texted 6 people, asked them if they'd be bakers and make chocolate chip cookies. And all of them are like, yeah, sure. And then I found 6 other people that were going to test them, test them. And then we were going to vote on them. And it just turned into the funnest date night. Like, you can just do it at your house with your family, change up the days. It turned into the funnest thing. And I met so many people from it. We did it for almost 18 months. And yeah, it was amazing.
So cool. I know. I really wish I would have met you sooner. And I'm kind of surprised I didn't too, because finding out where you lived, we have a lot of mutual friends from when I was in high school, and I lived in that exact same neighborhood when I was growing up, but then I moved out. So yeah, in Springville by Walmart. Yeah. So crazy. But anyway, I'm glad I got to be a part of it for when I did. So
me too. You made some delicious things. Those Snickers brownies. That
was fun. It was good to try something new. And then, can you speak for a moment about why you had to stop or why you chose to?
Sure. So with Hashimoto's and with my specific case, every person is so different with whatever diseases they have. I found this doctor who said, okay, if your TSH, that's your thyroid stimulating hormone, doctors want it between 1 and 4. If your numbers are good and you're still not feeling good, there's something else going on in your body. And normally it's a food intolerance. So I had to stop the bake off because I have decided to cut all allergens out of my diet to find out what it is that is affecting me and hurting me. Because the longer that I keep eating that food, it's causing my body to attack my thyroid, and it's just making me sicker and sicker. So the bake off, I would have 36 of 6 people's treats in my house, and I'd put together boxes, and I was taste testing and I was baking, and it was just too much for me when I have to really step back and just focus on my health and my family right now. So I had to end it. And it's probably one of the hardest things that I've had to do because I loved it. And it brought me joy. And it brought people joy. It brought you joy. It brought So it's really sad. But I think it'll be a good thing in the long run. So.
Yes, I agree. It's hard, but yeah, that's a good principle right there. If you're trying to avoid something, it's good to cut it out completely instead of just have it there on the side for temptation or for, taunting you and all that. So that's good. Yeah, my sister-in-law has gone through food elimination because she has bad migraines. So she's been trying to figure out what's causing those. So yeah. Do you know how long it's going to take, or just how long do you have to do the elimination part?
So the super intense elimination diet that I'm doing, it is for 21 days. So it's no gluten, no dairy, no sugar, no eggs, no oats, no rice, no eggs, no potatoes, no tomatoes, no corn, it has been very difficult.
That is very hard.
No soy. I mean, soy's in everything. Like, all of those things are in everything. And so this initial part is 21 days, and I got a food intolerance test, and I'll be getting the results this week. And we'll start slowly reintroducing food back in as long as I'm not allergic to them. And overall, this whole elimination thing will be about 6 months.
Wow. And then I've heard so many times that our physical affects our emotional and vice versa. And how have you seen that into play with this?
Well, I feel like I didn't know how bad I was until now, when I actually feel good again. There were things that I was noticing about myself that I was like, this is not me things like with my kids, something silly would happen and I'd be all angry about it. And I'd be like, why am I mad about that? Like 2 months ago, or even, 2 years ago, that wouldn't have even bothered me. Why is this an issue? And now I'm seeing just myself come back. I thought it was gone, having kids or being sick or whatever it was. I was like, I thought part of me was gone, but really I was sick.
Yeah.
And so it's really, really emotionally uplifting to feel myself come back. And that it's kind of sad to say, like, I was trapped in my own body, but I was. And it kind of feels awesome to be like, but look at what I'm doing and I'm coming back. I'm here for you. Yeah.
That's good. And that you've experienced both sides of it shows the need for opposition and how we don't know exactly how something bad is until we've been there or we experience the opposite. So
totally. The perspective is, it's everything.
Yeah. Okay. And then on to mental health. We kind of touched on this a little bit before, but again, it's probably just because they're all so connected. Are you on like antidepressants or anything?
I'm not currently, but I think mentally, when I've had all of these challenges, I have really found a lot of support from friends and family by sharing what I'm going through. Like, it has been really hard to go to sleep at night, wake up feeling just as tired as I was when I went to sleep. And I've talked to people about it and they've shared their things. Having my own tribe, having my own village, whatever you want to call it, has been everything for my mental health throughout the sickness and losing my mom. Like, I've just found that people are what I need to be who I need to be. When my mom passed away, there was a tribe of women that like literally picked me up and threw me over their shoulders and carried me when I could not walk. And I feel like my husband and my friends have been that way with my physical issues and being sick and not knowing I was sick and just not understanding. They just picked me up and they carried me along. And so I think sharing about what you're going through is everything for mental health.
I agree. And we sometimes get in our own way with that because we're worried what other people will think, or we don't realize how prevalent something is or how much we do need each other. So that's such a great reminder because it's true. We do need people. We're social creatures. And I found that as well. I used to think I was an introvert, but over time it's become more apparent. I'm more of an extrovert just because, we need people. We need to bounce ideas off of each other. We need that support system. Like you said, we need a village. So
totally.
Yes, that's so good. Well, do you have a favorite inspirational quote?
Actually, yeah.
That's good.
And it goes along with all of this. So it's Marjorie Pay Hinckley, years ago. She said, "We need each other. Oh, how we need each other." And that has kind of been my theme for my life. I need people and people need me. And I have to just trust that, pretty socially aware. I don't ever want to step on anyone's toes or anything like that. But I have to sit back sometimes and say, you know what, maybe that person needs me and maybe I need them. And so that's it's kind of my theme for life.
Yeah, I love it. And I love, again, how you brought up that reminder that people need us too, because I forget about that all the time. I had until you said that, because it's true. We make those connections with other people and we think it's all for us, but we don't realize what they're gaining from it as well. So
totally.
Perfect. Well, thank you for your time today. I really appreciated talking to you and getting to know more of your story.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for letting me talk about healing, because for me, healing in all the facets of my life has truly been a choice. I had to choose to be okay emotionally. I had to choose to change my life to be okay physically. Healing is a choice. And so thanks for teaching me that today.
For sure. Thank you. This will be so good for my listeners. And I will share on my podcast if and when your baking competition comes back up.
Ooh, perfect.
Yes.
Hopefully soon.
Yes. Okay. Well, good luck with your healing journey.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye. Thank you for joining me on the podcast today. You can find me on Instagram at aisforadversity or email me at jenbank16@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you.